What's up guys, and welcome to Void of Dust Gaming, your channel for fresh Arena of Valor content. As you might see, I have finally finished my promotion match in the current ranked season. Therefore I've now been transferred into Platinum 3 or 2 or something like that, so I have finally been able to do it. And it happened to be a match where I was supposed to pick the mage role in the team composition screen, and as I had lots of stuff going on about VEERA, she's OP, she's not OP, she is crazy, she's not crazy, she's a noob character, she is not. I decided to just check that out for myself, see how good VEERA is in the current meta, especially in a ranked scenario where the stakes are a little bit higher, and therefore you are going to see VEERA gameplay today. So let me first of all introduce you to my build. So here we've got my standard layout. I didn't really change that much from the last time I played her. You will see how many selectors here. I have been changing them to the Gilded Greaves, but the rest of the build is basically it. But I tweaked the composition sort of a little bit. So I think I have been choosing Bareth's Agony before I went with the Diadem. So the sequence is a little bit, the order is a little bit different than you have seen here. Mage damage wise, I'm going on Ability Power, Magic Pierce, a little bit of Lifesteal, and some cooldown speed. That comes from 10 times Violate, that comes from 10 times Devour, and that comes from 10 times Hex. In my opinion, you can use Hex and change that to Flurry if you want to have the Flurry stuff, but in this case I went with the Ability Power and the cooldown speed because I think it's actually quite okay-ish. Enchantment wise, I decided to go with Curse of the Death because you are a single target mage. You want to burst down one single target using your second ability and then your first and your ultimate and all sorts of stuff, but the thing is you're going to press buttons and that's all about it. So we want to maximize the damage in the craziest possible way. Therefore you see in Raging Inferno here, we've got Deadly Claw, we've got Curse of the Death, we've got Enhanced Restore of course for a little bit of sustain, and then we are going all in with Gunslinger. And that is the build. If you like this kind of gameplay, hit the subscription button and the notification bell if you are not already a subscriber to my channel. And of course the comment section is free for your thoughts. What do you think about VEERA? Is she too strong? Is she a noob hero? Would you change her? What would you kind of do with VEERA if she would change, and all sorts of stuff? Just put it down in the comments below. And without further ado, I would say let's hop right into the gameplay. Alright, ladies and gents, here we are in the current matchup. We're going against Azankar. That's at least something that we have been getting from the first screen. And I decided to go with the Gilded Greaves for one single reason. I don't want to stand too long in the crowd control effects. I mean, there are better Azankars who are able to time their stuff pretty well, and there are worse Azankars who are not really that good mechanically wise. So as I didn't know what I would face, I decided to go with the boots first and go for the magic resistance. We are using our second ability and the first ability. As I said, that's like, I wouldn't even call it a combo. Basically it's just two spells that you're going to kind of launch in a sequence. So it's like a sequence, not a combo at all, but it's basically the thing that works. You want to freeze stuff with your S2 and then you're going to unleash all the damage that you have because you will have plenty of time. Yeah, usually if the skill is maxed out, you should be able to get your ultimate in, you should be able to get your first ability in, and you should be able to get some of the auto attacks in here as well. Therefore actually Bareth's Agony does make sense. So what I have to tell all of you before you guys are starting to kind of go crazy in the comment section. I have been fighting and playing VEERA in this game with some questionable choices in terms of my micromanagement. Therefore, I might just flicker to a very strange point, and this comes basically from just hitting the auto cast button and stuff like that. So never mind, I tried to do as best as I could, but I know that my mechanics are a little bit rusty and I could improve them. But then you should always keep in mind that I'm going more into the kind of sort of my 40s instead of my 30s. So I'm, my goodness, I am closer to my 40s than my 30s, and that should tell you a little bit about my physical condition. So this is basically the point. I had to kill steal this. It was important. I need the gold, and therefore I was like, okay guys, if you are going to mumble around and do stuff like that, I'm just going in and I'm going to kill him. So this was the decision. You shouldn't do that. It wasn't polite, but I thought, okay, I don't know if the game progress is going to continue. We've got 2 kills right now. 2 minutes have been played, so nothing spectacular happened so far. And I was like, okay, well, Azankar, he hits me sometimes. I don't really bother with like, that was crazy. This was really, really bad. And if I would have had flicker and some cooldown reduction, that dude would have been dead. So I see that this is an uphill battle for Azankar. I wanted to steal Sage buff here, and it worked out fine, and now I've got the whole gang coming up. So this was really nice from my team. Great job. I've got blue buff. We killed their jungler, which is a great sequence of things to happen. And I was chilled. Like, this game was completely chilled. I was going against Azankar. I was entirely sure that this was no match for VEERA. He's got a lot of crowd control, but then he's super squishy. He hasn't got any kind of dash or something like that. Like, the only thing that he can do to prevent incoming damage is basically cast stuff, and then he will still be next to you. I mean, the ult has this kind of knock up effect once, but this is all about it. So, oh no, it's not the ult. The ult is kind of like pushing you away. I meant the S1, but this is like, what's this? It's like not even a second or something like that. So we should not continue to bother with this. I was like, okay, well, should I get him? Should I not get him? So I decided I should basically go and help out the bottom tower. But of course, we're not going through that bush line here. Of course, we're going through the normal lane setup, and here we go, there we go. Of course, there's Valheim, so I need to be a little bit careful. I think that was fine. That flicker wasn't the best flicker of my life yet, but it kind of saved me, and the good thing is it bought our team a little time. So now Valheim is back, now Grug is back, and so the guys who are in order to protect their tower are back, and meanwhile our top lane is a little bit escalating here. So they've got the tower. Unfortunately, they kind of, I think they spend a little bit too much time upon the top lane, because they then went through the jungle. So I think the game, or the game plan wasn't entirely clear. So they should have taken the tower, and instead of, like, as you can see, there has been no damage inflicted to the second upper tower. So I guess what happened was, first tower was falling, and then they were kind of like continuing on with the minions on the lane, and then they somehow decided to escape through the enemy jungle, which is always kind of a bad thing. I mean, if you have come that far, you can either go into the bush and then you try to recall in it, or the other option would be just to go straight back on the lane, like on that lane fragment, and then down towards it, and then you're going to recall, and that's about that. I think that's the more healthy solution to this. So now I don't know what happened, but Quillen was there and he got the kill, and I was like, well, I'm fine, I can do that. And now we needed to be a little bit careful. My team lets me here alone, and unfortunately I'm dying. Like, okay, the problem with this dude is the more health he loses, the more armor he gets, and therefore I wasn't able to get him. And as you could see, he was using his S2 pretty nicely. If you are using your S2 and you are Zephyrus, you should always stand still and then just let that hail of blades, or that hail of, I don't know, it's like spears or something, just happen, because that is when you maximize that spell. You should never ever move, because that is going to cancel that spell. So stand still, let it happen, and then you will have the best outcome of it, because it's going to be your lifesteal. As you've seen, he got a little bit life back, and then he got a little bit life removed, and that was when Quillen was able to kill him. But this short amount of time wasn't really in my favor, and I died. But we have now 3 kills under the belt. and I think that is solid gameplay. So 13 versus 6 right now. I think we've got the upper hand. No tower loss so far. Enemy has lost 2 towers, and as you can see, we are having a half tower in the mid lane, I guess. I guess. Now we've got the second tower on the top lane. So Errol is doing a really good job. Like, I haven't really seen that much kill-wise from him so far, but I was confident that he knows what to do. And even if he's just split pushing and dying, towers are worth more than one individual's life. That is true in this game. You can die 10 times, but if you get 10 towers, that's a lot worth more. It's not about just the simple gold and the advantage. Of course, you shouldn't always die, because then it kind of puts your team in a worse position if it comes to a lot of team fights. But if you are able to split push and your team holds a little bit back or just defense, things should be all right. Now I've got something that's worth mentioning. This is the first time in about 3,000 games where the jungler was actively asking me. That was some of my mechanics. Like, I should have not used it, but just kind of like pulled it down. So I was firing straight into my facing, so it went up, but the first ability should have went down back towards into the bush. So that was what I'm talking about. So he was asking me if I would need or like to get blue buff. I was completely surprised by that offer. It was really generous, so that's fine. But I was like, well, it's a normal thing to do if you're playing League of Legends, so that's fine. But this case, it was like, you've got to get your mobile phone and then hit the chat button, and then you need to type it, and then you need to send it. I mean, cognitively, that's something that most of the players can't even bear unless they're flaming you. Because it seems that on a magical kind of thing, every single time someone starts to flame, they get some kind of keyboard, because then they can just spam messages which are basically book long, threatening your family and your mother and everyone that you know. And I'm like, how do they do that in that fast way? I don't even know. I don't know how they do it. It's crazy. So we need to stay a little bit safe here. So now we've got a crazy Valheim coming towards us, and then we've got some Quillen, and then we've got some Valheim, and we need to be a little bit careful here because Valheim is a threat to us. But now we've got the 5th kill in a row. I mean, this is VEERA OTP, as you know her. I had to look up what OTP means. I did that about 2 months ago because everyone was talking about, oh my god, that's VEERA OTP. Yeah, I'm Quillen OTP. And like, what are they even talking about? So I had to Google it, and now I know it, and now I even put it in the title. That is how crazy it is. Here is your result screen. So we're doing good. It seems that Errol did a pretty good job on farming because he's second best in our team, even if we've got 3 kills more than him. I mean, of course, it depends on what kind of kills you get. So if you have a pretty valuable target, then you might just get more gold for that. But that's fine. So this is super dangerous. I think that was one of the best flickers in my life. Completely flickered away, and now he's like, oh bollocks. Unfortunately, we don't get him. That's really bad, and now we're dead. We're so dead. Good thing is that my team has split up, and then they attacked from 2 different sides. So I think that was crazy. Like, the execution is still little bit lackluster, so that's something that they want to improve, I guess. But Quillen is still alive, so he can pick the cherries. What's he gonna do now? Like, he's going to get Azankar. Here we go. Yeah, he's shut down now. Okay, well, it could have worked, I guess. Could have worked, but it didn't. So right now I decided to go for Staff of Nul over the Rares, because I think that we do need some... Oh my goodness, what a kill secure. Right now we need some penetration rather than the life gain, but the life gain is also fine. Like, that's completely fine. if the game would not be in this kind of a scenario and we would be about to kind of like win the game or really push it quite hard and we need like really fast kills, I would have gone for the life saving thing, like the life regen thing, because that's actually better for laning phases and stuff like that. But right now it's just the icing on the cake. I need the Staff of Null at the moment a little bit more because I need to pen that armor to get down the guys quicker. So I mean, you can, if we would talk about someone who has massive area of effect damage, and would have been different, but now I'm in the situation that I will pinpoint one single target with my kiss, and then I'm going to unleash all of my spells on this particular target. So I want that particular target to be dead as fast as possible, and therefore I'm taking Staff of Null. I've got one chance, and I mean the setup for the enemies. I don't know if you guys have realized that so far, or yet. If you have realized that yet, we have a really strange Xanis-Zephys combination. So I think they were a little bit confused and did not manage to take one jungler. So instead of that, they have gone with two. So I think one top laner was basically missing all the time, and I think that was the oh my god, I don't know what happened here. What's that, a lag? I think that was the really bad point for them, was when they started with the team composition, because both Zephys and Xanis are not really strong top laners or solo laners, if you want to put it like that. So this is kind of like putting them a little bit back, and I guess that's what kind of like cost them the game. Mobility is great, and they can really put you to tears, like if you take this for example, and if they manage to get into late game, like as you can see, Xanis at the moment hasn't got the 4th item and his boots are not even fully maxed. So if you transition that to like a late game state, for example 17-18 minutes where he will have a 4th item, it will become the case that I can only stop one. I can stop either Zephys or I can stop Xanis, but both of them are really deadly for our backline. So Quillen is squishy as hell, so he really needs to focus and really pay attention on what his positioning is about. And then we've got Valheim, who's got a strong initiator game, but he needs to be careful about crowd control and stuff like that. And they've got Azankar, so they've got the crowd control. I don't know what happened here. This was so damn bad. I thought I threw the game here. This was basically like mind game. So I saw that my team was just losing and losing and losing lives. So they kind of like forgot the team fight, and my targeting was not to the point. It was really bad. So I was targeting completely like strange things in the air, and that was like a turning point when I said to myself, like, look, we need to focus on this. I could even imagine now that I want to talk about something else. This is like really, really strange moderation. So I think what on VEERA might actually work even better than this build, and I think this build works really good. Like the sequence of the items, it's really good. But I imagine that if you do something that I use on Tulin on a regular basis, with Tulin usually I will build up the boots for mobility to make him even more mobile. Usually it will be Gilded Greaves, just because I know that I know that there will be crowd control effects and stuff like that, and you need to be as mobile as possible, and therefore I'm going in with that stuff like that. I just killed him, but he's revived, and that's super sad. And I think I even got Valheim, but yeah, I think this kind of I would not have been able to defend this, so this kind of lost us the game. Like, I think this one particular situation lost us the game, where we were going in waves, because so far the game was in our favor, and I think that lost us the game. And well, yeah. So match 7 is completed. I've got 3 wins and I've got 4 losses, which is not my win ratio. That is about 55% or something like that. So I was MVP, but it is not really helpful. So 9.5, 8 kills, 5 deaths, 12 assists. So I'm better than the average player in my team. Unfortunately, I'm not better than their Valheim, who has been scoring that. And I've got about 1/3 of the total damage. And what I think it's really crazy is that I've got the most participation in there. So I was standing around stuff when it was necessary. So this was it. I hope you guys liked it. I was a little bit sad after the game because it actually went quite well. But I think VEERA is really, really good. And yeah, let's see what you guys are going up with in the comments. See ya.